content for entertainment purposes and somehow educational purposes if you learn something. Last time we talked about unity, which is at this point of life, it's just all over, um, not ascertained, and it's not until now us we decide to bring back humanity and being humane, and also a little bit of stop being selfish and all that. So today we're gonna talk about independence and dependence. People who are independent and those who are independent and who are dependent. Okay. Um, I don't know about y'all or you and your culture, but the culture I grew up in, okay, it has changed with over the years. When I was younger, people who are born in the 90s, you might relate or not, but when I was younger, I remember it was so crucial in Kenya. Ladies were taught the tiniest bits of how to be clean, how to clean a house, how to arrange, organize, and that was very important. And in other households, you find parents who equalize the children, but back then it was not as much as now. But back then, I remember boys would be told boys will be boys. Uh, they like to rough house and all that, and yet that's the most important thing about cleanliness. It should be taught to both children to learn how to upkeep themselves, and I think that's how I can say most girls. Okay, we when we reflect back, we say girl child was given empowerment, and it's not empowerment. It's only some most of the parents, if I can say that, uh, showed girls how to be prepared for adulting more than the boy child. Because if I look back, you'll find yes about organization, yes about how how to take care of yourself, and when times get rough, how to cope with it. And now we're having a crisis of most young men. I don't know if it's all over or it's just here in Kenya, but most of young men in the age group of millennials, not many of them are independent, like uh, standing on their own, making decisions for their own, even if it's in relationship or personal. And I think now we can go back to how it was when we were younger, because I remember in terms of cooking, it was a compulsory thing, but also it also depends if a child is interested. I was very much interested in cooking. I started cooking when I was 8 years old, and it's following my mom in the kitchen, learning about the traditional, and also being like the assistant cook, of being told to do the preparations, if it's the vegetables preparations, and my brother was out playing with the toys. I'm not putting him under the, I'm just saying like how, but how it was. He was interested in cooking at one given time, except he burnt himself trying to eat the snack. We have a snack that it's popular when we are young. I don't know if when you get older it's just that we ate it too much. We have the staple food, the ugali. Once you cook it and you remove it from the cooking pot, there is the crust that remains in the pot. That's that's a nice crunchy, yeah, crunchy snack. So when he went, he didn't wait for the pot to cool down. So he went with his head first, so he burnt himself. And then he shouted, "Oh, I've burnt." No, in Kiswahili, it's more funnier. He actually used Kiswahili and mother tongue. He said, "Nimeshura," meaning I've burnt, like I have been cooked overly done. That's the translation. So yeah, he did have interest until now. Later on, when we continue growing up, my mom had to sit us down and tell us we have to have a duty roster of when who does dishes, so that the cleanliness is not just on me, it also lands on him. We all hated doing the dishes, so and my mom will find the dishes in the sink and say, "Yeah, okay, I you should have done the dishes." And okay, how moms, you know how they say, the dishes, besides the dishes belong to me, so I should clean them. And that's when you know, oh, it's good, we'll have a punishment later on, but I digress. So yeah, on the cleanliness sector, on the organization sector, I remember we used to do, okay, cleanliness was done like on a daily basis, but there was a time like once a month we'll do like general cleaning, so that if there are things that we're not using or things that we don't need, either we donate them, or if they were trash, we'll throw them away. Like newspapers, old newspapers, we used to sell them to uh, butcheries for for yeah, for the attendees when they serve the customers and package it. They used old newspapers after wrapping it in a plastic bag back then, until they were abolished. Now it's different. It's a different scenario. Then so cleanliness, I have seen different people how they're clean. And now grown up, you'll find some people, because hi Owen, welcome. Hey, people from Kenya, welcome. Yeah, I said hi Owen, welcome to this channel. In case of any comment or you oppose what I'm saying or disagree, you can comment, and I'll answer question and everything. So like right now, cleanliness is not a factor to some people. Hi Paris, welcome Paris Peters. I'll read the comments at the end or halfway, intermission. But anyway, we are talking about independence and dependency. And we know some cultures are taught, and if you're taught when you're young, you grow up with that knowledge, and you use it as you grow up and in the adulting phase. And I'm comparing like how we were brought up. I don't know about your household or how you're brought up, but for me, my mom did emphasize on both my brother and I to know, to learn how to cook, learn how to be clean, learn how to be organized. I remember every time we had to open school, before opening school, and we had to buy like new, I think like the new year to the, when you upgrade your classes, we'll have the new books and all that, and then we'll organize them categorically, um cover them with book covers, write our names and all that, and then arrange them the way you're shown. And that's how you'll find in school, the schools that use the desk. I don't know about the schools that use lockers. Schools that have had desk, lockable lockers, you'll find some students, their desk were neatly organize and clean. And then you'll find others who just throw their books there anyhowly, and if you told them to look for something, it's just a mess of disorganization. That's how you know, were they taught how to organize. I remember my desk was always clean. The the textbooks had the assigned side, the exercise books had the assigned side, the it's called what, the set, geometric set, was on its particular place. Rulers and pencils and biros and pens and ink, well, we used to have fountain pens. Ooh, that was a long time ago. And I think that's how most of us millennials have good handwriting, because we used to write with fountain pens and learn how to write cursives. Yeah, it was a struggle. So yeah, organization came about, and then you'll see how people are different, and also you'll also look at uniforms. We didn't have much. Some people had one set of uniform, others had two, had others had more. For me, I only had, we had our school uniform in primary school, what, dresses. I had two, and every year I had to get new ones because I was growing taller than normal for the age group that I was. Okay, my growth spurt grew. I grew taller younger. And then in high school, I was just one note until adult. Now the only place I was growing was either wider or thinner, but taller, shorter, no. It just ended in primary school. Yeah, I only maybe changed a little bit height, kidogo kidogo, a bit by bit, but not extremely like some people who, when we finished primary school and went to high school, you just have a growth spurt and they shoot up very fast. Again, I digress. So organization was apparent to see how people organize, or also it also presents itself in showing how people also are at home. And sorry to say, most people who were organized in class performed better. I don't know if it was relatable, because people, you could find the books that you needed easily, but we also had disorganized people who also performed better. So I don't know how it was in the balance of that. Um, then you'll find, I remember, we'll talk about people who will be in school and have their siblings in the same school, but they don't have the detachment of being an individual. You'll have twins. That is understandable, for because they knew each other way before any other people knew them. Then you'll have siblings, um, and some siblings who are codependent on each other, like, oh, I missed my homework, so my brother has to bring it. For me, I remember, since I used to carry packed lunch, when my brother joined the primary school I was in, and that time I was in class 7 when he entered class 1. You can see the age gap. Uh, was he? Yeah. Was he? No, class 6. When I was in class 6, he was in class 1. We have a 5-year gap. Yeah. So I used to, because I used to come to school the earlier mornings, because I was in the higher upper classes. I'll carry the break meal and lunch for him, because my mom will prepare everything at once. And since I was old enough and I was big enough, I'll carry the load. So when break time came, he would come to my class and pick his snacks, the break and whatever. But that's understandable, because the older siblings should look after the younger siblings, according here in Africa. I'm speaking from the experience I had. Um, then when I finished class 8, he was still in the same school. Uh, when I finished class 8, he had to be carrying his own, and at least he was at least older. We used to carry hot tea with a thermos, hot lunch with a hot tea with a thermos flask, hot lunch with a thermos dish, and then yeah, so he had to take care of it. Happy, welcome. Hi. Wow. Hi. I don't know if you hi Happy. uh in case of comments, you can comment. In case of disagreement, agreement, or experience, you can share. um so for him, after I finished school, he could not keep up with carrying the packed break and lunch, so my mom had to opt to give him money for his snacks. And that's how I say sometimes we're different, because how he was brought up and how I was brought up, clearly there's a difference. But also it's different because maybe parents also note when a child, what the capacity of a child has, if it's good and it's bad. But also some parents just, yeah, have favoritism, and it can also go to some siblings head. I'm not talking about mine, but I've read from the Reddit stories, and you hear there's a favorite child. In all families, you always see that dynamic. There's one child that is treated much better than the other child. But for us firstborns, whoo, we have experienced the favoritism, we have experienced the cautionary side, and we have experienced the betweens, all the betweens, and all the outwards. So there is no in betweens for the firstborns. Sorry to say, lastborns have it better when the parents have already used their energy on the first and second, and like the previous children, so they will not be like on them. So with that notion of how you interact and you see some type of behaviors, and you go to high school now when you're matured, and you see a different side. For especially us Kenyans, most of us go to boarding schools in high school, and most of the boarding schools are singular, like all girls boarding schools and all boys boarding schools. And from the stories I've heard, boys don't shower that much. They only shower during functions, when other girls' schools are visiting in their schools, or there's parents' PTA meetings and all that. And also in girls' schools, don't think I'll forget about it. There are some girls who don't shower. And it's sad, considering that time you matured and most of us are undergoing the menstrual cycles. And yeah, you need to be triple clean. Um, I remember in our high school, we'll have, yes, morning showers. It wasn't compulsory, like everyone has to be inspected, but for some people will opt to shower at night. So they wake up in the morning, just do freshen up the face and brush their teeth and go to class, so that they don't get late, because we were supposed to be in class by 5:15 a.m. You sat on your desk. So the hassle of fighting for a bathroom stall in the ablution was hectic. So they'll opt to shower at night when the hustle and bustle is slow. Actually, it was no hustle and bustle, which is okay, because still they're clean. Then we have, I'll speak for cases that I've had since when I was in high school. I did try the night showers. so that in the morning I don't. And then I got sick. I got pneumonia, acute pneumonia. It was so terrible because the school I studied at was in a valley, and the water was freezing cold, and it was not hot shower in high school, except I know private schools have hot showers, and also national schools, some of them, not all, provide hot showers for all students. For us, we were a county school. Yeah, you shower with the water from the well, and it was freezing. That's why I opted for the night and then still got sick. And after that, I had a doctor note recommending me never to shower with cold water. But during my menses and sports, we had sports every evening, Monday and Fridays. So, and PE. So the sweating, you could not sleep with the sweat and the dust and all that. So I'll shower in the evening after supper before evening preps. Our supper, we had supper from 5:30 to 7. Then you should be in class at 7. So I have seen when I was in the dorms in high school, girls who didn't shower and also peed in the bed. So you can imagine the smell. And they still apply oil in the morning. So it's a mixture of good smell versus the sweat, natural sweat, and also the pee. Yeah, memory is flooding in, and it's just making me, whew, yeah, it was that bad. Others you'll find they will soak their socks for a whole week and put it under the bed. Thank you, Giovanni, for the compliment. And you'll wonder, like, the dorms. Okay, let me give you a picture. Or picture this. Our dorms was long. I was in the dorm called Longonot, named after our volcanic mountain here in Kenya. And it was the longest dorm back then. When the school was a mixed boarding school, that was the boys' dormitory next to the next one, which was Suswa. Suswa is also a hill here in Kenya. Then it was long, and then it had half walls. It was not like the cubes were subdivided into cubes. The dome was subdivided into cubes, but the wall was not reaching the roof, like opposed from the Suswa Dome and the Girls Dome in Lukenya. So ours was half wall. You could hear everyone from, and it had 24 cubes, 24 cubitories. And in each cubitory, there were, back when I was in Form 1, there were 4 bunk beds, 2 bunk beds, so that made 4 beds. Then they were added, the lower side of the dorm had 3 bunk beds, meaning 6 people are sleeping in those cubitories. By the time I was leaving Form 4, the population had increased. Some of the upper cubitories were also added the 3rd bunk bed. So initially 24, it was still 24 cubes. Then you'll find, like, okay, below the beds, that's where somebody has soaked their socks, and they stink up the whole dormitory, or a portion of where the cubes are adjacent. Like, let's say the person has soaked the socks in cube 3, I was in cube 3, and cube 4, 2, and the opposites 20 and 22 and 20, 21, 22 will smell that smell. Yeah. And I remember when I was the dorms captain, I used to inspect after cleanliness in the morning after breakfast. I'll inspect and I will know the bedwetters, and I'll call them individually and tell them to air out their beddings, so at least the smell can subside. And then I'll make sure each cube has opened their window for circulation of air, so that during the night we don't sleep in the same stench. Yeah. So, and you see, sometimes you'll find you keep on reminding people, they forget or they just play ignorant. It's a line between those two. Um, then you'll find even in classrooms, the way they even do, okay, not even when you assign them the duties, maybe for cleaning, if they were supposed to clean the cubes, they'll clean it with dirty clothes, like a duster that has mud, and you'll see the lines clearly, that the mud lines of the, and they say they have washed. Yeah. I- and then I'm like, I've been doing this at home as the first born child and first grandchild. Supervising cleaning has been my whoo. Mm-hmm. That's why even some people don't want to start families early, because we are already responsible for other people's much earlier in our lives. And we want to at least have a vacation for some time before. Darkstone, I give you a shout out. I might give you at the end as I read the comments. Then when you go to college, I think if you carry that habit of you're not clean and you depend on other people to remind you, and then you go to college and or university and no one is reminding you of anything, you have to do it by yourself. And then that's when you have group projects, it's an issue, because someone will be lazy enough, wait for you guys to do the work, and then harp on the success story after the fact. You've done all the research and this person is just joyriding on your group. It was that. It happened. I have seen it. Then you go to workforces, when you're in the work industry, same notion complies. And then you find when you start dating such people, it seems, and then it seems like you're smothering them, and it's hectic. Oh, it's really hectic. So, like I said, such things like cleanliness, such things as organization, it's a culture either you're taught or you're not taught, and you carry it along your lifeline until the end. Some do it on purpose, or play their arrogance or ignorance card and assume everything will be done, and poof, it appears, or it's done. And then you find some crashes on the, if that's the type of culture they've grown in or they have accepted in their life, and they want to remain in such culture, they either crash out or they just have issues left, right, and center. Uh, Other than that, we have both dependence, and then you'll find that now the ones who learn to do things by themselves, um, not unless the push is so severe and they've been pushed to the ultimate point, and they see they need to ask for help to, but they'll try and find by all means, all types of solution, and until they have none, that's when they'll ask and request for help. Other than that, they will be like, no, I can do it myself. And I think that's where I am. Not I think, I know. Even my mom sometimes even wonders, like, you're too quiet. Why are you quiet? And I'm like, I'm trying to find out what to do and how to come out of something and this and that. And she's like, why didn't you ask for help? And when I see I don't have any other way, that's when I ask for help. That comes like, for me, since I did the course of architecture with the related studies of carpentry, plumbing, electrical somehow, but electrical I'll never practice. That was so dangerous. Um, uh, and what else? And building. In case of any repairs in the house, I don't even, before I ask for help from another profession, I try and do it by myself. Um, if it doesn't work, then that's when I opt for the other option of consulting somebody who's well versed with that particular issue. And it's um it's good and bad in many ways. Some people even tell me, you don't need a man. And I'm like, I don't need a man as a companion and a friend and a lover. Other than that, the fixing in the house, I'll do. To what I prefer. So are you a dependent person or are you independent? But it comes both ways. Sometimes we are dependent on other people when things don't go the way we want, for people who are independent. And for independent people, they don't like being dependent on anyone at all, at all, at all, at all. And I get it, because if you're taught responsibilities and you accept responsibilities from early on, you tend to try to fix it by yourself as much as possible, until now you need to be dependent on the professional help or the emotional help, that is therapy, that is um, family, friends who always have you back, and in all that. I think I've stretched it as much as I could for today. In case of any addition, I post every Tuesday, add on a topic, subtract on the topic, talk about things we can relate or not. Like I said, and I stress it more. You thought men were dirty when they were in high school. Women, the cases I dealt with, sometimes I'm shocked to see some of them here in adulting world, because the things they used to do were not normal. And I was like, back in my head in high school, I would say, and when we have a function and they have their boyfriends, then do you really know your girlfriend? No, I'll not think it out loud, but I'll think it in my mind, and I'm like, you see her, she's clean right now. But boy, oh boy, if you're going to be the husband or the future husband is not anywhere here, I feel sorry for them. Or future partner, let me put it like that, future partner, because you go like, I remember we also had surprise inspections in high school, so that the teachers can see if we have uh, contrabands, or yeah, legal substance that were not supposed to be in school. um we'll have each cube inspected separately. Each It was a whole day affair. We'll go to a parade in the morning, that's 8. to 8:30. When you go back to class, we are told don't go back to class. Report to your respective dorms, all of you. Stand outside the dorm. The teachers come who are supposed to inspect. The prefect, that was I in my dorm, open the dorm and be like the security guard. So we'll call cube 1 members, and then I'll be told to confirm who are the cube 1 members. They enter, they are told open your box, stand aside, and then the teachers uh, go through everything, your beddings, like to see maybe you've, because most of us we had more than one mattress. Some people used to hide their contrabands between the mattresses. And also it was used as ironing. It's good when you lay in bed at night and you have two mattresses, your body is the one that presses the clothes to give it a clean ironed line. That was a trick in boarding school I learned. So they'll check to see the types of school uniform you have. It was illegal to have long sleeves shirts, so you had to have the t-shirt uh shirt with the school logo on the left side bust area, on the bust pocket. Then the skirts that you have, the school skirts, were they up to standard? Were they adjusted to slim down to have to show your figure, or were they the standard school normal balloon? We used to call them balloon skirts. Did you have from your shopping, because it's a boarding school, we used to have carry shoppings, that is the toiletries. What type of toiletries do you have? Do you have alcohol in your boxes? We had metal boxes that our parents bought. uh, then they will check to see either are there food stuffs in the dorm. The only place you're supposed to eat was in the dining hall, and it's the food that was provided by the school. And sometimes we'll carry like fruits. We used to have, when mango season came, the mangoes that were brought to us, some of them are very unripe, very unripe. So some of us would carry, that time it was allowed, we'll carry it to our dorms and put it in our boxes until it was ripe for you to enjoy the juices of the mango. Other than that, you're not supposed to have snacks, you're not supposed to have flammable substances, even though we never burnt the school. um you're not supposed to have home clothes, that is casual, normal outside clothes. We had to only have the uniform and uh the nightgown, which we some of us, because we did like the nightgowns, will wear sweatpants, and sweatpants were considered that you can use them to sneak out of the school, which some people did. Uh, and I knew about it and I didn't. I was like, they know what they're supposed to do in school. That is on them. That's it for the rambles for today. Keep clean, keep organized. Uh, Ask yourself, are you an independent person or are you dependent? And if you want to change your ways, there's still room to be good at it. Thanks all for those who joined. I'll say hi again. I'll not tire. Owen Dengwa, hey, my country people. Perry Peters, hi and welcome. Until next Tuesday. I do this every Tuesday. Today I did it early because I came home early and I went to work early. Happy hi, Giovanni. Thanks for the compliment. Yeah. Um, Darkstone, shout out. Again, is it a question? Do you want me to shout out? But I have already. So until next time, keep, in case of any topics you want me to discuss, you can comment down below. I don't remove the lives. They're still on my page. You can listen to my music. And I'm happy to note that very soon you'll hear the projects I've been working on. Soon. So there, I've been cooking. Let it cook. Bye-bye. Until next Tuesday. Yeah. Bye-bye.